Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me for the full moon chart read. This is the full moon in Aries, and it's occurring Eastern time at September 24th, 10:52 p.m. Eastern. Times will vary. It very well probably in Europe it'll be on the day before or the day after because it's late at night. So you got to adjust it for your time. But it's the full moon in Aries. You know, the thing that gets me right away, of course, is that it's conjunct Chiron. Excuse me, I just needed a drink of water. And I've talked at length about Chiron if you watch these all the time, but I'm going to talk some more about it because, Chiron is getting ready to dip back into Pisces here. It's at 0002 and it's retrograding, so that means it's moving backward. It's going to go back down into Pisces. And I just whipped out, this is an ephemeris. Every time I use one of these, usually people that watch the chart readings know what an ephemeris is. There's all different kinds. I have this kind, and then this is like a yearly one. But this does have in the back a little thing of the asteroids and Chiron. So yeah, it looks like it's going 29 the end of September, and it's by the end of the year it's going to retrograde down to 27 degrees somewhere around December 11th ish. This only gives every week, so it doesn't give you day by day. And then it's going to go direct again. So sometime in January it's going to move back into Aries. And I'm not sure beyond that. I haven't really looked. But yeah, we're going to dip back into Pisces. So this full moon, it's almost like, because it's conjunct the Chiron in Aries, while we're still in Aries here, it's almost as if it's like last chance to do anything for a little while anyway. Because I felt like I had my Chiron return, like many of you, in Pisces a couple years ago. And all this stuff came up. I had all this crazy health stuff. I also had Uranus in my 6th house during that time. So there was some crazy health stuff. I've always been really healthy. And I've always been like, I felt like I could like control my health. Or, prosperity, I don't always deal with the best with my moon in 2nd house. But I've always been able to think myself or manifest myself healthy, And boy, these last few years, the universe has been kicking my butt, I'll tell you. But what I came to realize while it was over here in Pisces is that it was spanning over many lifetimes. I'm going to make a video about it, or I might even write a book, because I had this major thing. I was hospitalized, I almost died, and blah, blah, blah. But I was seeing all these flashes. It was beyond seeing flashes of past life. I was flying through space and becoming these other, I was in the bodies of these other people. It was crazy. But what was in common, what was happening is these other lifetimes that I was simultaneously experiencing, other timelines, because time doesn't matter, it's not existence outside of our 3D realm, without getting too way out there. But the point of my story is that this wound in this part of my body did go to other lifetimes, got big time. I didn't know what was happening, but I was getting wheeled into this arena, and I was all tied down, and then I saw the movie Braveheart again, and it triggered it, and that's exactly what they did to me too. They pulled all my stuff out, I don't know if they set them on fire or whatever, but they ripped me open and pulled out my guts, and then I was stabbed there in battle. And I see the big rusty spear, and it's got 4 prongs on it. This big rusty spear, like just stabbing me right in the same spot where I had all the, the issues happening now. So that what it showed me was that this is an opportunity. Well, this wound goes beyond the what's happening in the physical body of me right here and now. First of all, that's what it showed me. The Pisces energy is the memory of it all, the span beyond this time frame of it all. And then as it moved into Aries, I felt like it was time to really take action with that. And I'm doing work on my own, and I've gone for some Reiki sessions with a friend, and the focus being not only healing what's happening in my body now, but healing throughout all timelines, echoing out throughout all timelines. So while this was in Aries, even if you don't want to do the all timeline thing, okay, you don't have to go that deep if you're not that into it. But while it's in Aries, it's about action. It's about taking action to heal our wounds. Now, yours might not be a physical wound. It could be an emotional wound, a psychological wound. And And you don't have to even go to the past life thing if you're not that into that either. You could just go to different points in time in this current incarnation. There's plenty of them. There's plenty of our childhood wounds and stuff that we could be addressing at this time. So while we have this little window in Aries and this full moon in Aries, it feels like it's this last burst to really shine a light on some actions that we can do, some things that we can be proactive about, action-oriented about, actually doing something rather than just, yeah, it was my past life, man, and space it out. Kind of, it's Pisces, you can kind of get in that spaced out kind of thing. And there's a place for that. And I'm spaced out chick number one, I'm into it, but then there's a time it almost becomes not whining, well, it's all because of my past life and I'm just a victim and there's nothing I can do about it, where. No, action. What can you do about it? How can you heal it? And how you would heal it is different than how I would heal it. It's going to be, because Aries is the individual. So it's going to be an individual case-by-case thing. It's not going to be the same for everyone. There's too many, it's a myriad of multitudes and myriads of options. But you have to examine that in your own life. Aries is you, the individual, yourself. Examine how you in your own life can take action to heal yourself and heal these wounds. And then as it moves back into Pisces, which it's going to at the end of this month, there could be more discovery of more things. And again, not just past lives, maybe childhood memories that were buried in your subconscious. There's all sorts of ways that this could, there could be more discovery along those lines during that short amount of time, that month or two, that it would be back in Pisces. But now it's in Aries, the full moon is conjunct it, it's really time to shine a light on it, it's really time to bring this to some sort of fruition and some sort of plan of action. Because the other thing that's happening is with this, and these are some of the things that are in that solstice reading too, by the way, that's available till the end of this month, which is the bi-wheel. I'll show you an example in a minute, but the Mercury's there too. So the Mercury, it's conjunct the Sun and opposing this full moon here. So the Mercury is very much make a plan, think about it, the mental, using the energy of the Aries, Mars Aries, which is the rulership. That's why I bring up Mars, the Mars Aries energy with the mercurial mind mental energy. It's about making a plan, making a successful plan, devising a plan of action. This is the time to devise a plan of action. And it could shine a light on any kind of stumbling blocks that you might have in order to go through. You could get some major aha things with that Mercury, big time. Major, if there was a mental blockage of, maybe you have these maybe it's not even that deep for some people. Maybe it's just, whatever problem you're trying to solve. It doesn't have to be that deep, going into the past lives and the wounds and the whole thing. What problem are you trying to solve? This is excellent energy for solving problems and devising a plan of action. So we've got a big T-square too with the Saturn, and that just it just brings in more past life stuff. It brings in the karma. There's this T-square with Saturn and the Moon and the Sun and Vesta as well. So Saturn, for many too, it could be your own, that does tie into your parental things. The patriarchy, who hurt you, who wounded you. It could be your teacher or whoever, your authority figure of you at an earlier time in your life. Or even in the present moment with the Aries energy. These authority figures, having some kind of understanding, having some kind of healing. Not being so, even though it's, injustice, there's an injustice vibe to some of this, So they treated me unfairly, they were hard on me, they didn't do me right, they, this or that. There's always these stories. With Mercury, there's the story, of how you were done wrong, or how somebody hurt you, or how how they held me back. They held me back. They hurt me, they wounded me, they messed me up, right? So now we have an opportunity to know that it's deeper than all that. look at it beyond the surface level, even though these are kind of superficial planetary things. But with the Saturn and the Chiron, it's going a little deeper. You know, well, maybe this person, even if it's like your boss at work right now, right in the here and now, your boss is a jerk, right? Well, maybe they've got some stuff going on too, you know, and maybe they're, what comes to mind is what my mom used to always say with the people at the bar is kill them with kindness. If somebody's being a jerk to you and you turn around and, you know, blah, 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 just be really nice to them, it kind of melts. It's like that, those animated, those claymation or stop motion, the guy, the big abominable snowman. And here he just needed his tooth pulled, and then all that snow, I don't know if that's the same one, but one of them, all that snow melts away. I think it was some old man, but, you know, beneath that meanness and that crusty exterior and that, there is this, everyone has an underbelly, everyone has a soft side, everyone's been wounded themselves, and sometimes we put up these harsh fronts because we've been wounded ourselves, you know. Well, the nodes are here too. That's all part of the action too. The nodes are going to be changing here soon too. We've got the nodes. I talk about the nodes in that solstice thing. The nodes are in a big T-square with Uranus here. So Uranus with the nodes too is freeing of our karma. You know, the nodes are our karma. The nodes are the things, our soul agreements that we're tied into, you know. And with Uranus being there, we have an opportunity to be free of that. We have an opportunity to release that. Because Uranus is all about freedom from bondage. Uranus is all about not being held back. You know, our ability to soar, our ability to, you know, it's not at its best spot. I don't know if that's a detriment or not, but in Taurus it's not the best. But it's very good, I feel, for addressing these earthly matters. And these are all fixed signs too. The nodes and the Uranus square, this is fixed. So this is fixed energy. This is energy of, no, I will never change that. This is just how I am. You're just going to have to accept it. This is how it is, and that's what it's going to be, and, well, you know, cut and dry. So with the combination of all these different things, you know, things that seem to be, I'm hearing indelible, but I don't know if that's really the correct word. But I'm hearing indelible, but things that seem to be set in stone, you know, fixed, unchangeable, that they could be changed. We could have huge turnabouts to things, and we could have huge turnabouts to our way of thinking, because Mercury is the mind and Uranus is the, I think Uranus is the higher mind. I gotta look up indelible. I know I've heard indelible as in indelible ink. That's just bugging me. I just want to look it up real quick. Yeah, it says indelible ink. That's the first thing that came up. That's how I'm familiar with it. That means you can't get rid of it? What? That cannot be removed. Yeah, that is. I've never used it in any other form other than indelible ink. Yeah, so things that seemed indelible. See, that's why how you know it's coming from spirit, because I wasn't even sure how to use that word other than, you know, indelible ink, and so that wasn't out of my head. That was just something coming right through the spirit guides. 1 second, I need a drink. But it can be. Things aren't as indelible as we might have thought they were, right? It's sort of in opposition with the Venus, but I don't know if I want to bring that in. I mean, you know, people say blah, blah, blah. When I talk about orbs, I always get comments, oh, it should be 13 degrees. I actually use a 3-degree orb for the most part. Orb meaning area of influence. So 8 degrees to 1 is 7. 7 is, you know, another standard that a lot of people will use, a 7-degree orb. But I try to use a 3-degree orb, I think, is... you know, some people will use a wider orb, like for Venus, because of the personal planets, and then, like, the outer planets only use a 3-degree orb. But, you know, I don't know if I want to bring in I guess we could. I mean, there is sort of a T-square going on here. Well, Venus is what we value, who we love, what we value. You know, those are the things. Venus going through Scorpio is death and rebirth. It's going to come up in conjunct Jupiter. I don't know if, I think it's not going to conjunct Jupiter. I actually looked that up. Because this is, Jupiter's right on my natal Venus right now. And I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be awesome if I had a Venus return conjunct Jupiter, and it's not happening. Jupiter will be in Sag by the time. Venus is going to go direct, retrograde. Well, I don't want to get too astrology, because a lot of people that watch this don't even, they just watch it for the extra. They don't want to talk astrology. And I don't want to talk too much astrology either. I like to just kind of wing it and let it happen and go for it myself. Yeah, but these are some of this node thing. That's something else that I do talk about in those readings if you wanted to get one for yourself. But let's take a look at this. Oh yeah, we got Saturn square. We've talked about that. Venus square, Mars square, Uranus. Yeah, Mars is squaring Uranus. Let's talk about that. Oh, that's the nodal thing. Yeah, I did kind of address that. That's that freedom from restriction. And Uranus, Aquarius rules Uranus, or vice versa. So that's just empowering that, look, you're not going to hold me back. You're not going to, you're not going to enslave me anymore. You're not going to hold me in this karmic contract anymore with the South Node. I won't be held for that anymore. I'll be free of it. You can't, I've paid my dues. I've paid my karmic dues. I don't have to continue on this karmic will. There's so many things, because when I do those soul readings, I look at the nodes, I look at Saturn, I look at Chiron. And all of these elements are strongly involved in this full moon right now. I look at that in your natal chart and talk about your karmic path and everything. But that's all coming to, coming out right now. And with the full moon, it's coming to, it's being shine a light on, it's being shown. And then what happens after the full moon? It's the waning moon, so then it's time to release. It's time to release all of this stuff. Where are we at with time? Oh, we're only about 17 minutes in. Okay. Still have the Pluto sextiling Neptune. Transformation again, Neptune being the dreams and stuff. I've been having some dreams lately, man. Every night, these crazy dreams. And then the Pluto, Neptune is the dream time. Neptune Pisces is the dream time, our subconscious mind, all that. Pluto is, the real world in Capricorn. So how can we take these ideas, energies, vibes, or whatever's being shown to us in our subconscious, in our dreams, and make it to change in the real world? Because Pluto in Capricorn wants to change the real world, wants to change the structure of things. Anything else with those guys going on here? Neptune, Pluto, sextiling Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter could help make the transition not so painful. Because Jupiter rules, Scorpio here is the ruler of Pluto. And Jupiter always brings blessings and wonderful things, and makes things easier, and makes it for our highest good, and makes it, brings the blessings. So it doesn't have to all be about this pain and struggle and this horrible stuff. There's some blessings in it. And with Jupiter, which rules the 9th house, maybe it's not going to be blessings of now in the physical world. It might not be like, the blessing, you might not see them right now, but it is on a higher level. It is in the form of your soul growth and what you're really doing here and why you're incarnate on Earth. And so these changes and these struggles are blessings, And Jupiter in the sign of Scorpio for this last year. I mean, it's getting ready to move out of here pretty soon. I think it's October. Is it October when Jupiter moves into Sag? No, it is. It's early, first week in November. But it's coming up. It's coming up here pretty soon. Jupiter's not retrograding anymore. It's full steam ahead. It's going to move right on over and get right into its Sag, its own rulership. Sagittarius and Jupiter, that's the rulership there. So, it's the tail end of the Scorpio lessons. And Scorpio's, not an easy, it's not like Libra. Oh, everything's happy and sunshine and balanced and wonderful. Scorpio is, rules you know, it's your root chakra. It does rule like the bowels of the earth and the underworld, and you know, it's some deep dark shit, man. You know, so Jupiter's in there, so it's bringing all that up too, in addition to the rest of this mix. But with Jupiter, at least you know you're going to get a blessing. You know that there's going to be some light at the end of a tunnel. You know that it's for your highest good. You know that it's going to expand your consciousness, your life, your spiritual growth, and you're expanding beyond your fixed ideas. You're expanding beyond what was imposed upon you as a child from whoever. It doesn't have to be. You might have had great parents. It could have been the church. It could have been whoever. Whoever was laying down the law and pointing that finger at you and telling you how it is. You know, the man, quote unquote. It's not a slant at men. It's, you know, the man and the you know, that the man meaning the authority figure. You know. So Jupiter wants you to know that you've been the man, number one, and that you've had some fixed and rigid ideas in other lifetimes, or even in this lifetime. And if you haven't, that's what the thing about looking up on Facebook. It's funny, you know, when you start running into these old people that you knew growing up and stuff, and you know, I just assume that everybody's grown so much and changed and had, you know, all these things have happened to them. But some of them not. I mean, some of them are just exactly the same as they always were. They've never grown. They've never changed. They just, you know, and I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm so superior. I hate when people do that. Oh, I'm so spiritually superior, blah, blah, blah. Because that's not compassion. That's not, you know, that's not really spiritual growth. That's ego, right? But it just surprises me. And it doesn't mean that they would have to have gone along the spiritual path as I have, but it's something, you know. I mean, you're exactly the same as you were then, you know. Nothing's, you know, it just surprises me. It's not, I'm not trying to be like it's a judgment. I suppose a little bit it is, but it's more a curiosity, like how could you have never changed since, in any way? It doesn't even have to be anything, you know, just something. But there's many people that never changed through their whole lives. And I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart, so I think that maybe that death and rebirth is just part of my existence, you know, so maybe I have to look beyond that, like that not everybody has that going in their chart, but you just think that, you know, you always believe the exact same thing. And I think that's a big problem with what's happening out in, you know, in society in general. When we take these strong stances, I'm always willing to listen, you know, I'm always willing to listen. And I'll admit when I'm wrong, you know, I'll cop to it if I'm wrong, and I've been wrong a lot. And the things that I believed when I was growing up and the things I believe now they're 100 miles apart, you know. But that doesn't, I'm not trying to say I'm so advanced. That's not the point. But it's just hard to fathom. We see things through our own lens. We see things from our own perspective. We see things, and sometimes it's hard to, you know, look outside of that. And if somebody, you know, people don't see things your way, no matter on what front, it doesn't have to be politics, it could be just anything, you know. You don't have to get all in an uproar about it. You try to come at it with some understanding. Try to come at it with some grace and dignity, and kill him with kindness, you know. That was my mom's saying kill him with kindness was more of a manipulation, really, but it worked. Because another thing, we were in the bar business. If you've never seen any of these videos of mine, I was raised in a bar, my family owned a bar, and you can't argue with a drunk, you know, you just can't. So, just, you know, it was a way to kind of smooth things over and soothe things out. It was a manipulation in a way. That's probably why she used it and taught it to me, and I used it, was to just shut them up, basically, because you don't want to hear it. But without even knowing it, there was this higher spiritual kind of thing going on, you know. Okay, whatever. I know people don't like. And by the way, I don't drink. People always say, when I was talking about the bar stories, that's just my petri dish of life growing up, you know, and that's just how I observe people and everything. But I don't drink. I never was a big drinker, and I don't drink at all now. So I'm not a drunk. I've had comments saying, "Oh, you sound like a drunk." I'm not drunk. I don't drink at all. Okay, I'm not. I'm not saying, yeah, let's everybody go get drunk. I'm just saying that's what I was raised around, and that was my petri dish. That was my observation lab, you know, of life and people interacting, and it was a pretty good one, you know, because people from all walks of life do drink and do go into bars. You'd be surprised. You know, you'd be surprised. But that's off on another tangent. I'm going to try to wrap things up real quick here. Let me do my other thing here, and I'm going to come back with some final words on that. I want to show you real quick first, this is a bi-wheel. So if you order the solstice reading, this is what we will do. It'll be a reading just like this when I'm talking. This will be your chart. This is the solstice chart. I don't want to show anybody's name. And I go through and talk about the different things that are going on related to your chart. And it's a great thing to look at for the upcoming stuff. You know, I used to run them constantly for myself. It's a great predictor, and it's a predictive thing for the coming quarter of the year. This one just doesn't look good in the dark. This is some of the newer astral arts that I'm offering. It's art with your chart. Your actual chart is part of the art. And I use different elements and planetary symbols. This particular one, he was a double cap with Aquarius rising, so heavy Saturn, you know. So then Saturn became the background image, and you know, and then I use animal totems and just all sorts of stuff. There's that. I also am offering this astral art, which is an astral glyph, which is your sun, rising, and moon, and some of the symbolisms that go along with it. It's personalized for you also. 2 different people have told me they're getting this as tattoos, so I'm really excited about that. And then, as always, I have the Tapestry of Life mandalas, which is your astrology chart, and it's kind of past life stuff too. It's pretty cool. You can find all of that if you visit my website. And the art is under, the astral art is under the art section. Let's go back. Okay. The readings are under the reading section. And then, of course, if you're on a mobile device, it's in the little side menu. You guys know how to do that. Another thing that I want to talk about what I'm offering really quick before we wrap it up is I am offering, the card readings are posted, but only for patrons at this time. I'm going to be doing the card readings early for patrons, and for an $8 fee you get all 12 readings early with no Google ads, and you also get an additional bonus card that's I do, instead of putting each bonus card reading on Vimeo where you have to pay for each one. It's all for patrons. So for $8 a month you get all the readings free, no Google ads, and the bonus card for the reading. So if you want to check that out below, you can. Okay, so the full moon in Aries, yeah, it's, you know, Aries is the self. It's about self-examination and self-healing with Chiron. And we all have different things we're working on. You know, some people are working on multi-dimensional, multi-lifetimes and multi-timelines and spanning many lifetimes and things. Some people are just working on an argument they have with their boss who's a prick. You know, it could go, it could be small or it could be big. It doesn't have to be. You tackle as much as you're ready to tackle, or as you want to tackle. You know, even if you are aware of multi-timelines and all that stuff, maybe you don't even want to mess with it. Maybe it's like, I have enough to deal with in this one timeline. I don't need to, you know, so it's not, again, it's not a judgment. It's all about you. Aries is the self, the first person, the individual, and where you are focusing your energy. But there's some heavier duty stuff going on, whether you see it or not. I'm telling you, you know, even if it's just, you have your boss is a jerk and you had a fight and you want to figure that out, you could have some enlightenment about it. But I guarantee if that's going on right now, you and that boss are karmically connected, and there is some higher thing going on. But you don't have to address that. You know, you don't have to address it that deeply. Just, Aries is about being in the here and now. So it's a lot about being in the here and now. Okay, So I guess that's about wraps it up. The readings I'll be posting sometime next week before the first of the month for the general public. So if you don't want to become a patron and you're looking for the card readings, they'll be up next week, as usual. Thank you all so much for everything you do by liking, sharing, subscribing. If you want to get that solstice reading, or ingress reading rather, yeah, it's solstice reading, that's available till the end of this month of September. Check out all the stuff on my website. I appreciate everything you do. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate. Until next time.